Back to Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth.
Nothing but truth.
On AFR Talk.
Welcome back. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth, proudly on AFR Talk. Hey, go to the Facebook page. You can respond to the stories that we are covering. You can interact. We have some fun there. And what really is not fun is what we are seeing in our society today. And that is, with the age of video, we're seeing people actually be attacked, criminal activity take place. And we've seen it before, but now we're seeing much more of it because of simply the videos there. We hear awful stories of people being attacked and held at gunpoint or beaten. And this is less about the reasons in regard to that. We can do a story on the trends, certainly. But then there's another question, another aspect to the story, another element to the story. And the story is, are you prepared when you are walking down the street or possibly being assaulted, attacked in some way? Are you prepared? What do you do when somebody does attack you? What if they try to put you in a car? Yeah, these things happen. And when they do, oftentimes the man they call for advice on these matters after the fact, unfortunately, is our guest, Earnest Hart Jr., personal safety and self-defense consultant, EarnestHart.com, world champion martial artist. And Mr. Hart, you're going to make us heart smart here. Tell me.
That's right, my man. That's what I'm here for.
Absolutely. And it's great to be with you, sir.
Likewise. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's just address this. I've always wondered why criminals pick certain victims. What are they looking for, and how do we not become that person?
Well, you hear so many stories about people, getting caught off guard and being rushed, and they say it came out of nowhere. No, there was something to it. You just didn't pay attention to it, and that's why your awareness skills are so important. Case in point, if you had a drug addict who had a $400 drug habit, he's going to pick the easiest person he can. That means he'll look and he will assess the situation. Would he get some muscle-bound guy who has MMA tattooed on his face? No. He'll look for somebody who is, first of all, somebody preferably a female, somebody who's weaker, who's not, or somebody who is older, because they don't want to get caught. The chances of them getting caught are less. So it's who they call, who they pick, and where they are that, makes the difference. So what you have to do is have your awareness skills and be aware of what's going on before it happens.
So they're aware, even if they don't view it as a soft target per se, they're aware of maybe you being unaware, you being maybe caught up in doing, maybe on your cell phone, getting out of your car at the mall, doing something along those lines. They're aware of the fact that you're distracted in some way.
Yeah, for instance, they would, if I was going to do something like that, and my thing is, since I was a kid, I've been around criminals. I want to learn what they did so I wouldn't become their victims, because it's always been going on. But like you said before, with video, it's been showing that. I would, for instance, if I was going to get someone, I would look for that person who goes out of town, or someone's a tourist or just a businessman who goes out in the evening time and they drink, or they go to the bars there, to the women bars and get their money. They're going to have cash with them, so they're drinking. They're going to be more vulnerable when they go back to their car or waiting for a cab than somebody who isn't. So you pick and choose. These guys, a lot of criminals are not stupid. So that's what people mess up. The smart ones, they get away. You just don't hear about it. So you want to find that person who's under alcohol, who's the weaker person, who is disoriented, who doesn't know where they are. Guys who are tourists and businessmen, they tend to be that once they get to drinking. And there's somebody who is asking you where a certain place is. These things are telltale signs that you're my victim.
When you come up and let's say you're stone cold sober, you're going, there's an ATM on the street, you're in the city walking, you're approaching it, and somebody comes up to you and maybe asks for directions, something along those lines.
Right away, I take that as a sign because first and foremost, I'm going to look for somebody else. I don't trust that person because if I'm going to, first of all, you wouldn't want to go to ATMs, help in the nighttime by yourself, because these are places where people tend to look for you. But I'm thinking there's more than one person, and I'm not going to, right away I'm going to let them know, hey, back off. You got to say it in stern words so they see that you are not afraid of them. And that takes, but believe it or not, that takes some training, though. we react to the way we train. So if you're afraid, you're startled, it's going to be just what they want. And these guys, that's what they try to just catch you off guard. So your job is to learn how to have the tools to see stuff ahead of time and to cut them off before it goes into full blast.
When do you fight back? When is it right for you to fight back? With training, I know what you advise, but I'd like to hear the audience to hear this, because this is really interesting. Of somebody asking you for their wallet, maybe they don't present a weapon at the time. Do you fight back? Do you flee? Or when somebody's grabbing you and maybe attempting to put you into a car or push you away from the path if you're walking in the park into the woods, when do you fight back, and how hard?
Well, your reaction time from a threat is based on how surprised and startled you are. You have what you call your fight or flight or freeze. If you've trained, even if you're trained, you're going to freeze momentarily, but you react because you train your body to do so. Whatever you react, that situation can be different. If somebody tells you to get in the car, for instance, like you said, there's no way you should get in the car. I don't care what it is. They want your money. You don't think you can get away from them. You'd rather throw the money the other way and then get away, because once you let them take you, you don't have any control anymore. And that's why I tell women, and then they say, well, he may shoot me. Well, guess what? Guess what he's going to do if he gets you by himself? Because that type of person may be a sexual predator compared to somebody who's a criminal, because it's a whole different ball game. So you have to understand, do I fight now or do I take my chances later? And once you give them the advantage, there's slightly chance you're going to get away.
How many of the people you have worked with, percentage-wise, have been victims, survivors of crime? Do you get a lot?
Well, I've had people come to me after the fact, like you said,
yes.
But then I've had people who were, at one time or another, the situations could have happened and got out of hand, but they had choices and they were able to get out of there, on the positive side, because they did have those choices. They did have their training. And then there were some people who got, they got hurt in the process, but they got away. But they say, I'd rather have gotten hurt than let somebody take me away and violate my body. So, that training makes the difference, and you have to have that will to do it. It's not so much the training, it's that will. Your mind has to be trained mentally to get away, but you get that by training. So that's what it is, that will to win.
And the training is, people mistake, they say, I'm taking martial arts, and they can walk into a restaurant or someplace and they feel they can clean up the place in kind of a roadhouse style, if you will. That's not what training's all about. Training is much more than the physical, and it's also being smart.
Yeah, the training, most martial artists today are not training for self-defense. They're training for a competition. Mm-hmm. People don't bow, they don't touch gloves, they don't let you have rules on the street. And someone who could teach you how to deal with streets, who has street savvy and teach you very basic techniques, how to deal with things. And that means even running. There's times when you have to run. There's times when you have to fight. I'd rather get away and be alive than to be dead and be underground there. So I fought my way out. So that's the kind of training you want. It gives you the mental, the emotional, and the physical training to help you deal with the situation accordingly.
How important is it, and speaking to husbands out there, I'm speaking to everybody, wives, husbands, single folk, and kids, but how important is it as someone who's ahead of their family, head of their house, and they have a responsibility to protect? Is it incumbent upon them to make sure that their wife, their children are actually able to defend themselves? Do you think that's a staple in the sense of what they should be doing? It's their responsibility?
Well, they should do it, Crane.
Yes.
Unfortunately, in our society today, we've gotten, like Maslow's law as we go up that rank. Security is the second thing from the bottom. Once you get clothes, food, and all that other stuff, security next. We've jumped past that. And we're going on up there to self-accusation, and we want to get along with everybody and do stuff. Everybody needs to know how to take care of themselves and protect themselves. That's why kids are getting snatched left and right, because no one is training them to do these things. In fact, they're protecting them. They say, I don't want my kid to be around that. But
Earnest Hart,
them.
Earnest Hart Jr., EarnestHart.com. I'll post it up on the Facebook. Mr. Hart, we appreciate you. Heart Smart, Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. Appreciate you. Thank you very much, sir. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth, AFR Talk.